To you and me, this seems like a no-brainer. We would never fall for this, but our seniors are being specifically targeted, and they are falling for it.
3 elderly women in Douglas County have lost a combined $180,000. They fell for a brazen new scam that started with a simple error message on a computer or a tablet.
There was, however, a 4th victim that was luckier, and our investigative reporter Kevin Vaughn takes a look at the scam and what you can do to protect yourself and your loved ones.
These suspects are obviously very brazen to go face-to-face and meet with their victims.
Suspects like this man, who finished off the scam of a woman by going to her home to grab the money. It's part of a pattern of rip-offs aimed at older women, and that troubles Douglas County Sheriff Darren Weekly.
So the victim will get an error message that pops up on their iPad or on their computer. It tells them to contact a phone number for support. When they contact that phone number, it's actually the suspects.
From there, a story.
People have child pornography on their computer, and they need to pay a certain amount of money to their bank is going under, and they need to pull money out of the bank. They need to go purchase gold and exchange gold with these folks.
Then the scammer gets control of the victim's device. It first happened in February to the tune of $9,000 in cash. On July 5th, an attempt to swindle a woman out of gold failed. Since then, sadly, success. July 12th, $125,000 in gold. July 22nd, $23,000 in cash. July 31st, $36,000 in cash.
Anytime somebody is trying to create a sense of urgency for you to exchange money, you should be getting a red flag that something is amiss, that something is wrong.
Investigators believe the scams have been carried out by different people, all using the same tactics, ending with a meeting with the victim. This man showed up in a silver minivan missing wheel covers on the passenger side. Another met his victim near a busy intersection off Santa Fe and C470.
But if any time something doesn't feel right to you, trust your instincts, trust your gut that there's something wrong, and to notify at least a friend or a relative about what's happening.
And he says, never give someone else control of your device.
Never, never, never.
Sheriff Weekly urged all of us to talk to the seniors in our lives, our parents, our grandparents, even our neighbors. Let them know about scams like this and encourage them to ask for help if they think someone is trying to dupe them. Anyone with information about these cases was asked to contact Douglas County Sheriff's investigators. We have information on how to do that on our website, 9news.com.
A sad but important story to share. Thanks, Kevin.
Let's take a live look outside on this Tuesday afternoon. We're warming up this week. We're actually heading into a week where we're not saying hail, thunder, lightning, tornadoes, but 90s. 90s.
But pleasantly boring is what you're saying, sort of.
Hot boring.
Hot and boring.
Hot and boring.
Well, let's go to Chris Bianchi then, because that's stuff he knows a lot about.
Yes.
Don't you love that compliment?
Did that come out wrong?
I think my wife would agree, but no. That's,
there you go, see?
I'll say this, though, Kim and Tom. After this summer, I am thrilled to have a week where we're just talking about 90-degree temperatures, lots of sunshine, maybe an isolated storm or two tomorrow, but it's not going to be a big deal, even if we do see a storm tomorrow. And again here, folks, it's hot and dry, then hot and dry, then hot and dry. So typical midsummer weather for us here along the Front Range. Even hotter tomorrow compared to today. Isolated storm possible tomorrow. It's not a big deal, as I mentioned, but I'll show you that here in just a second. Meantime, highs today, 90 for us here in Denver. Today, our 20th day at 90 or above so far this year. For context, we were at 51 days at 90 or above this time last year. A lot of 80s, 90s, Eastern Plains, and 70s and 80s for us here into the high country. HC Doppler radar is busy for us here into the mountains, and specifically here into the San Juans. That's where we're seeing some of those showers and storms. Those will dissipate, though, over the course of the next hour or two. By about 7, 8 o'clock, any last showers and storms should be over and done with for our friends in the southwestern part of the state. I mentioned this yesterday. This is part of Colorado that really does need the moisture, so we're kind of happy to see it out this way. But for us here along the Front Range, probably don't have to tell you, it has been an exceptionally wet start to our summer season. We could use a few days without some of that wet weather. For tonight, temperatures in the low 60s for us, and for tomorrow, we'll be in the mid-90s. But I'll get in a bit more detail on that chance for a late storm coming up in my full forecast.
Chris, those hot and dry conditions you were talking about are going to make it hard for firefighters who are working on a couple of wildfires in southern Colorado, like the Quartz Ridge Fire. That was started by lightning 10 days ago. It's about 1,400 acres in size with no containment as of yet. And in Gunnison County, command for the Lowline Fire is now being turned over to the local Forest Service. The U.S. Forest Service says that transition will happen tomorrow morning. The perimeter of the fire is holding. It remains about 1,800 acres in size and 55% containment. The U.S. Forest Service says they're moving to a long-term operational plan. Of course, the rest of the world has seen the hottest July ever, but we know here it's actually been somewhat mild in Colorado. And coming up at 4:30, our meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen will put that into perspective, just how unusual this summer has been overall.
Lakewood police are grieving the loss of one of their own officers. The department says Agent Fred Saforo died this week after a battle with an illness. Saforo had been with the department for 4 years. Lakewood said he was the guy that everyone wanted to work with. They say he was always smiling, always positive. He was just 26 years old.
Pregnant women who face jail time here in Colorado may not have to be behind bars.
A new law that went into effect earlier this month encourages judges to find alternatives in their sentencing. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Rosari joins us. And Jaleesa, this effort seems like it stems from a recent incident, one that was actually caught on camera.
Yeah, Kim and Tom, we do want to warn everyone this may be difficult to watch. About 5 years ago, Diana Sanchez gave birth inside her cell at the Denver County Jail. The incident started a lawsuit that has since been settled. While this all changed Sanchez's life, her attorney hopes the new law will prevent this from happening again.
Outside the Denver County Jail is a story of what happened on the inside.
The video of Diana giving birth in her cell all alone, just feet away from the toilet, is horrifying. And I wish it were an isolated incident, but it's not. This kind of thing has happened over and over and over again.
Mari Newman is Diana Sanchez's attorney. Diana is the woman in this video giving birth inside the Denver County Jail in 2018. Sanchez had been in jail for a couple of weeks for what Newman called a nonviolent crime.
She was provided no medical care whatsoever for hours and hours and hours of laboring by herself. Illustrates just why it's so important that women and people who are pregnant are not incarcerated.
The video started a lawsuit that has since been settled and inspired a bill that is now a law. HB 23-1187 encourages courts to offer alternative sentencing and bond amounts for defendants who are pregnant and pose no risks to the public, and went into effect this month.
I have no doubt that if this law were in place, Diana and her child would not have experienced this.
While the law does not mandate judges, it does provide them options in sentencing. Newman hopes they consider, because she says while Diana was not the first to experience this, she hopes she is the last.
No parent and child should have to suffer the same kind of terror and indignity as Diana did and as other parents have.
It's important to point out this law isn't just for pregnant women facing jail time, but those in postpartum as well. They realize how important that time is for a parent and their child.
There's a lot of ground to cover here, but let's check in on the baby. We were kind of witness to it, not that we wanted to be there, but we were. How's the baby?
Baby's okay. And I think that's the most important thing here, right?
Yeah.
The baby is okay, especially after experiencing such a traumatic birth, right? That doesn't stop the fact that this has definitely impacted this family for a very long time.
And baby's still with mom, and
I believe so.
okay. Yeah, when you think about it, giving birth, how many times do we hear these stories of where a mom's life is in danger, a baby's life is in danger? I mean, it's a traumatic event all the way around.
And I think that's why these individuals who wanted this law argue, right, is that this is an unnecessary risk. If the individual actually does not pose a threat to the public, why put a baby at risk then at that point?
We'll follow up on that. All right, thanks, Jaleesa.
Okay, thank you. An update this afternoon. The man who escaped from the Bent County Jail 3 weeks ago has been found dead. The U.S. Marshals announced today they found the body of Mark Fox in Otero County, about 5 miles south of Rocky Ford. They say someone found his body in an empty farmhouse about 30 miles west of the jail. It took a while to identify Fox due to the condition of the body. The coroner believes he'd been dead for a while. They're not sure yet how he died. Investigators say there are no obvious signs of foul play. The coroner is waiting on some tests to determine a cause of death. Fox escaped with 3 others. 2 were found and arrested. Also, another one was found dead a day after their escape. He died of a possible overdose.
Former President Trump says he'll be responding to the latest indictments in a press conference on Monday. Of course, this follows the new felony counts that were filed last night in Georgia. Monday will actually be 4 days before his deadline to surrender to authorities in Georgia. Those charges are in connection to the alleged efforts to overturn Georgia's 2020 presidential election results. The indictment contains 19 defendants, including 2 with Colorado ties, former CU visiting professor John Eastman and Colorado attorney Jenna Ellis. Our legal analyst Whitney Traylor is going to join us in about 20 minutes. We'll be talking about these latest charges.
Students in Jeffco just finished their first day of the new school year this week. The Jeffco Sheriff's Office is starting Operation Magic School Bus. They're following buses to make sure drivers around them follow the stop signs, the school zone speed limits. Inside the schools, something new this year, principals and staff are putting a focus on student experience. The superintendent told us this morning that started even before the students walked inside.
There were plenty of nights where kids could come up and visit the school. They could meet their teacher, they could bring their supplies, and so they've really done a lot of legwork so that kids really feel that sense of belonging and that sense of welcome from day one.
And today, preschool at Seacrest Elementary in Jeffco didn't happen. The school had to cancel the classes because of a staff shortage. Our Mark Salinger is going to have more on that story and the growing teacher shortage tonight on Next.